Welcome to Your City, Your Choice. The San Francisco Department of Elections has bringing free, fair, and functional elections to the city and county of San Francisco since 1878. Our next scheduled election is June 5th, 2018. In the next few minutes, we'll talk about how you can get ready to be a voter, including how to register to vote, get set, providing an overview of what's on the ballot and where you can find more information, and of course, vote in San Francisco. We'll also go over how you can find additional help, show you ways you can get involved in elections, and finally, we'll show you how to get in touch with the Department of Elections. We want every eligible San Franciscan to be an informed voter. Let's begin with registration basics. Are you a San Franciscan? As you can see, there are lots of different kinds of San Franciscans. One thing many of us have in common is voting. There are a few basic requirements you must meet in order to register and vote in San Francisco. You must be a United States citizen, a San Francisco resident, and 18 years or older on Election Day. That means that voters for the next election must have been born before or on June 5th, 2000. Eager 16 and 17-year-olds can pre-register to vote. Their registration will be activated on their 18th birthday. People registering to vote must not be currently in state or federal prison or on parole for the conviction of a felony and not deemed mentally incompetent by a court of law. Finally, in order to vote, all Americans must first register to vote. There are two ways to register to vote. You can fill out a paper California voter registration application available from the Department of Elections and also found at most public libraries and post offices. Or go online to registertovote.ca.gov. Both options are fast and convenient. You can register to vote at any time. If you want to vote on June 5th, you'll need to register before or on May 21st. Have you ever wondered how many San Francisco registered voters? There are 475,965 registered voters in San Francisco as of February 23rd. If you are one of our hundreds of thousands of San Francisco voters, we need you to keep that voter registration current. If you are not sure about your registration details, check out the registration lookup tool at SFElections.org or call or stop by the Department of Elections and someone can help you. Some changes require you to inform the Department of Elections and complete a new registration application. Those include if you change your legal name, if you move in or out of San Francisco, or if you want to change your political party preference. For all other changes to your registration, use the registration update form at sfelections.org. When registering, you can also choose your language preference. San Francisco Elections produces most of its materials in 4 languages: English, Chinese, Spanish, and Filipino. This includes ballots, the voter guide, outreach and other voter education materials, and the website. A reference copy, or a facsimile of the ballot, is also available in Vietnamese and Korean. The state guide is available in these 10 languages. Request your materials in a language in addition to English when you register to vote, or visit sfelections.org/language and complete the Request for Translated Materials tool. If you have a question, please call the Department of Elections and one of our multilingual staff members will be happy to help you. By the way, one of the most important aspects of your registration is your signature. The Department of Elections compares the signature on your voter registration application to your signature when you sign a petition, the roster at a polling place, or your vote-by-mail return envelope. Do you remember what your signature looked like 5 years ago? How about a year ago? Does your signature change depending on what you sign? Keeping your signature up to date and consistent is an important part of helping the Department of Elections count your vote. If your signature has changed, or if you can't remember how you signed your registration application, complete a new registration application. Now that you're ready with the registration basics, it is time to get set by learning what's on the ballot. Each election, San Francisco voters make their choice on a variety of candidates and measures. For the June 5th, 2018 election, San Franciscans will have plenty to vote on. We will make choices for local offices for representatives at City Hall, including the mayor and the member of the Board of Supervisors for District 8, as well as our representatives in Washington, D.C. and Sacramento. We will also be voting for a judge, local measures, and a regional measure. Finally, statewide offices and state measures will also appear on this ballot. This election is called a consolidated election, meaning there are local and statewide contests. The offices highlighted here in yellow are elected using California's open primary system. Political party does not matter. You will vote for one. The two candidates who receive the most votes in this statewide June primary election move on to the November general election. All the contests highlighted in orange will be decided in the June election. Find information about candidates for local offices and information about local measures, as well as your sample ballot, in the free voter information pamphlet mailed to you about 1 month before the election. This information is also available online and mobile-friendly at voterguide.sfelections.org. Both the paper and online versions are available in Chinese, Spanish, and Filipino in addition to English. Plus, there are accessible options, including large print and audio format. To find information about statewide contests, the state of California also produces a free voter guide. Look for the paper version mailed to you about a month prior to the election. Their online version is voterguide.sos.ca.gov. The voter information guide from the state and the voter information pamphlet from the Department of Elections can be quite extensive. By law, all registered voters must receive these in the mail unless you tell us you would prefer to stop the paper and read it online instead. You can choose to stop receiving the paper version at sfelections.org. When you choose to stop the paper version, you will receive an email including the link to each guide before every election. Now that you know what you're voting for, let's talk about how to mark your ballot. Marking the ballot is the same when choosing a candidate for state or local office, or yes or no on a measure. To mark your vote, use a dark pen and connect the arrow pointing to your choice. In all cases, if you do not have a choice for a contest, it is okay to leave the contest blank. The contests you do vote for will count. For some local offices, San Francisco voters use ranked choice voting, where you rank up to 3 candidates in order of your preference. This system eliminates the need for a separate runoff election. During the upcoming election, all San Francisco voters will use ranked choice voting to elect the mayor. And for those of you who live in District 8, you will use ranked choice voting to select your member of the Board of Supervisors. For a ranked choice contest, all candidates are listed on the ballot in 3 identical columns. In column 1, select your first choice candidate. During vote counting, all first choice votes are counted. If no candidate receives 50% plus one vote, the candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated. In the second column, mark a different candidate your second choice. If you do not want to mark a second choice candidate, leave that column blank. During vote counting, second choice votes are counted when a voter's first choice candidate is eliminated. In the third column, select a different candidate as your third choice. If you do not want to mark a second or third choice candidate, leave those columns blank. During vote counting, third choice votes are counted when a voter's first and second choice candidates are eliminated. Eliminating candidates and transferring votes continues until a candidate has 50% plus one vote. That vote could be yours. California voters will decide 5 statewide measures. Find information in the California Voter Information Guide. Bay Area voters will decide on 1 regional measure. Find information in the San Francisco Voter Information Pamphlet. San Francisco voters will choose yes or no to 9 local measures. Find information in the San Francisco Voter Information Pamphlet. Now that you know what you're voting for and how to mark your ballot, let's talk about your options for receiving a ballot in San Francisco. San Francisco Elections provides 3 different ways to vote. How will you do it? Once upon a time called absentee voting, now any San Francisco voter has the option to receive a ballot by mail. When you sign up to be a permanent vote-by-mail voter, the department will mail you your ballot approximately 1 month before every election. The last day to request a vote-by-mail ballot for the June election is May 29th. Please note, this is after the registration deadline, and you must be registered to vote in order to request a vote-by-mail ballot. There are several ways to sign up to vote by mail. One option is to mark this preference on your voter registration application. Another option is to complete a permanent vote-by-mail application available at SFElections.org. If you're not ready to commit to permanently voting by mail, why not try it out just for this election? Call for a one-time vote-by-mail ballot, and a department staff member will be happy to assist you. Have you ever wondered how many San Franciscans vote by mail? As of February 22nd, well over half of our voters, 284,777, choose to permanently vote by mail. Once you've applied to vote by mail, the process is very easy. Look for your ballot in May, follow the instructions that come with the ballot, mark your ballot, remembering that it is okay to leave a contest blank. Fold each ballot card individually and place the cards in the return envelope. Sign and seal and return your ballot. There are options for returning your vote-by-mail envelope so your votes will count. Whatever option you use, be sure the ballots are inside and you've signed and sealed the return envelope. Use the postage-paid return envelope that came in the package and mail your ballot back to the department. It must be postmarked before or on Election Day. You can drop off your ballot at the Department of Elections at City Hall during business hours, or at the drop-off stations located outside City Hall during the 4 days prior to Election Day. Or you can drop off your ballot at any polling place in California on Election Day. Submitting your vote-by-mail ballot at any polling place in California is new this election. Once you've returned your ballot, you voted. Another option is voting at City Hall. Any San Francisco voter can vote at the City Hall Voting Center. It is a great choice for people who want to vote early, vote on a weekend, or think they may be busy or away on Election Day. When you vote at City Hall, you receive your precinct ballot, just the same as voting by mail or voting in your neighborhood polling place. We look forward to seeing you voting at our beautiful City Hall. For the upcoming election, the City Hall Voting Center opens May 7th. Voting center hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please note that the voting center is closed on Memorial Day. And for those of you who cannot make it during business hours, weekend voting hours begin 2 weeks prior to Election Day, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Coming on the weekends is a sweet option if you want to share your voting experience with your children. Of course, the voting center is open all day on Election Day. Voting at City Hall is a simple process. Enter City Hall at the Grove Street door. Fill out a very short form to request a ballot. Get in line. Get a ballot from the voting center staff. Make your way to a booth to vote in private. Mark your ballot, remembering that it is okay to leave a contest blank. Once you've voted, fold the cards individually and place them in the return envelope. Sign and seal the envelope, drop it in the box, and receive your sticker. That's it, you've voted. If you vote by mail or vote at City Hall, you can use the Department of Elections online tool to track your ballot as it moves through the entire 9 steps of the election process, from the date your request for a ballot is processed to when your ballot is counted. Of course, the third option, which many of you probably know about, is voting at your polling place on Election Day. All polling places are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Poll workers are trained to help you navigate the voting process and are happy to answer questions. Ever wonder how many polling places there are in San Francisco? Yes, 583. That's up from 576 last election, so many polling places have changed. It is important that you go to yours. When you register to vote, you are assigned a polling place based on where you live. It is important to vote at your assigned polling place so that you are voting for all the correct contests. Find your assigned polling place on the cover of your voter information pamphlet or at SFElections.org. If for some reason you cannot vote at your assigned polling place, you can cast a provisional ballot at any San Francisco polling place, or vote your precinct ballot at the City Hall Voting Center. Once you've located your polling place, be sure to arrive between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. When you arrive, tell the poll workers your name and address so they can find you in their roster. The poll workers will give you your ballot. You will have your choice of English and Chinese, English and Spanish, or English and Filipino versions. Take your ballot to a booth to vote in private. You are welcome to bring your sample ballot or other materials into the voting booth. Once you've marked your ballot, take the ballot to the Insight machine and insert them one by one. Once your cards are accepted, the poll worker will give you an I voted sticker. That's it, you've voted. Every polling place, along with the City Hall Voting Center, offers ballots in 3 formats: paper ballots, which you mark by connecting the arrow, and 2 accessible voting options, the audio ballot and the touchscreen ballot, which are on the Edge voting machine. Other accessible tools available include page magnifiers, pen grips, and voting curbside. All accessible options are available to all voters upon request. Just ask the poll workers. So now, hopefully, you're ready and set to vote. But what if you want to do more to participate in the elections process? There are many ways for you to get involved in elections on Election Day and throughout the year. Serve as a poll worker on Election Day while earning a stipend of up to $195. It takes almost 3,000 poll workers to conduct an election in San Francisco. Dedicated poll workers help maintain the integrity of the election process by serving at polling places across the city. Join the team and help San Franciscans vote. If you're interested in applying, visit sfelections.org. The Department of Elections is seeking additional sites to serve as polling places on Election Day. If you have control of a site that would make an ideal polling place, please contact the Department of Elections. There are ways to get involved with elections in addition to Election Day. Please consider inviting the voter outreach team to share information at your event, or request posters to display at your home or business. If you are curious about how voting works in San Francisco, we welcome your interest. The public is invited to observe all of our processes in person or via our live stream from SFElections.org. And if you have ideas you'd like to share, you may want to participate on a voluntary advisory committee. All these opportunities are listed at SFElections.org under the Get Involved tab. We encourage you to share what you've learned in the last few minutes. We talked about registration and keeping your registration up to date. We talked about what's on the ballot and how to mark your choices. We talked about ways to vote. Do you know how you'll do it? We talked about how you can get involved and even earn some cash. And we reminded you about all the voting information you can find at sfelections.org. One last question. When's Election Day? That's right, June 5th, 2018. Thanks for joining us today. This is your city and your choice. We appreciate your choosing to be a voter. We want your feedback. Fill out the customer survey from the homepage to help us improve our service. Thanks for being a San Francisco voter.